Check. Hello.
Thank all my guys, everybody back at the shop.
Go, Davey. You can talk now. I don't hear anything.
Back at the shop. Davey's a little under the weather tonight.
You gonna talk?
Davey,
talk,
you're
Davey?
muted.
I don't hear anything.
Oh, I can't hear you.
This podcast starting off great. Can't hear Davey.
Probably a good thing.
Davey has himself muted.
I did have myself muted. That fixed it, right? Content. Am I right?
I've been talking for the past hour and a half, and then now it's finally time to start, and now you can't talk.
To be fair. Sorry, had to mute the YouTube because that was playing back in my ear.
Oh, 20 seconds delay.
Yeah, it
To
was
be
worse than
fair-
like a minute and a half delay. So,
Are you ready
anyways,
to
we
intro or what?
back at the shop, doing things a little bit different because Christopher Weaver up there was in Chicago until Tuesday morning,
Yeah,
or whenever he got back.
Monday night.
Whatever. We normally record at his house on Monday, and obviously he was not home to do that. So we are
Happy
doing the
late July
James
4th,
Bond
everybody.
edition, episode 007, from our respective houses. Sam, how are you today?
I'm great, Davey. I hope you are. I've had 2 days off, which was a nice refresher after being in Charlotte for 3 days, standing around in the rain. So yeah, I'm happy. Glad to be back at the shop.
Is it just me or is Sam's video like 7 seconds off?
It goes off back and
it's
forth.
awful.
Yeah, it's weird.
Awesome. Is there anything I can do?
Probably not.
Our friend
Okay.
Paul, how are you?
I'm good.
I'm glad. Is that all you had?
Yeah. That's all I got. It's a Wednesday. Feeling
It
good.
is a Wednesday. All right, so we are on episode 7. I can't believe 7 of these have flown by. It feels like the longest time of my life. That's for certain. But the James
when we're
Bond
hanging
edition
out
is
with you.
already off to a heck of a start. So let's just dive right into it. Sam, Dad, Photog Chris, y'all were in Chicago. How much fun was that? Let's start outside of the racetrack.
It was awesome.
How cool was that place?
It was a cool city. I like. I've been there once or twice, and you know, I didn't get to do anything fun really Monday, and I got on a bicycle and rode all over the place, and it was a nice sunny day.
Sam,
Samuel.
how was your
Sam.
experience?
My experience was great. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm going to get nice and detailed here. From the second we pulled into the city, we had a mile walk to the track from our hotel. And I mean, there were people driving down the road, yelling at us. Good things, obviously. People would stop in the streets. and talk to us.
Can't say that. It's
We were
tickets.
standing out.
What?
We were in front of the hotel Friday morning, and some lady that worked in the bank across the street came out of work and walked across the street just to talk to us and ask questions. I had multiple people say, hey, not really NASCAR fans, but you guys are here. This is our city, and we're here to support it. We want to see how it does. So that's awesome. But yeah, Chicago's cool. The atmosphere was cool. The people were awesome. I got a couple of nitpicky things I could complain about, but not anything that's anybody's fault, really. Could be improved.
I had a bunch of cool conversations with fans, both from the Chicago area and from away from the Chicago area. And it was just everybody was excited. The ones that came into town from the suburbs were excited. I met people who were first-time race fans, and they were ready to see the race. And that was Sunday morning, so we were sitting in a bar and talked a bunch because we were waiting for either the Xfinity race to get going or ultimately get shortened, and then the afternoon stuff. So it was good to meet some people like that.
Yeah, that was cool.
It sounds like it was a lot of fun up there in Illinois.
Until the bottom dropped out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to say to all 7 people watching, invite one person to watch. If they invite one person, soon we'll be double, and soon we'll have 2,000 people watching. So
That's right.
it'd be really cool if we got a lot of people watching the live stream. It's a little bit different than what we normally do. And if anybody wants to sponsor an F-bomb, I'll drop one right now. I don't even care. And then I'll mention you. You send me $50, I'll send you my socks. You know, whatever. I got that offer the other day, and it's on the table. I'm just saying.
If you have any questions, serious questions, just put them in the comments. Not sock questions.
I think socks are pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it doesn't take a genius to figure those things out. Keeps your toesies warm.
If you can figure it out. Let's see.
Anyhow,
Well,
I ought to kick him from the stream.
so if we
You, dummy.
what did I say?
If I could figure it out.
Oh, so if we call this our James Bond episode, what do you guys know about James Bond? Anything?
He's a British badass.
He's British,
He's
and he
everybody's
says,
favorite.
"Oh,
I don't think he says that.
What a bonus.
What's your favorite James Bond? Or do y'all even give a shit?
I've never watched a single James Bond. I did play the Nintendo 64 game back in the day.
The N64 game was awesome. It was really cool.
I played the N64 and the PS2 one, which was like Nightshade. or
Yes,
something.
no kidding.
The only movie I remember
was
was
awesome.
Goldfinger, or whatever it was called. Gold Dust.
I watched Skyfall, which had Daniel Craig. It was pretty badass. Which I like. I like Aston Martin cars, and he had one, so that was pretty awesome.
I honestly couldn't even tell you what the premise of James Bond is. I just know he is like a spy and slays poon. So
No shit. Wow, baby.
that's really all I know about James Sir Bonds. I know Barry
Okay, well,
Bonds.
so I guess that was a stupid question to ask. I'm sorry. Barry Bonds is a baseball player. He is not
They're
related to
stupid
James
questions.
anyway.
You don't know that. Just because he is African American does not mean they are not related somewhere down the line.
No, that's not my point.
Have you met anybody else named Bonds?
I've never met one person with the last name Bond or Bonds.
Gold Bond.
Not one.
Oh, they do have different last names,
Name,
don't
not
they?
a person.
Damn it!
Okay, I'm sorry. Anyways, it's fine. Let's get off the subject because nobody has a favorite James Bond.
I don't even know what James Bond is. Guys,
He's a
if
secret
you're- there are
agent,
none of
stupid.
you now. I know what James Bond is. There are 9 people watching now. So leave a comment. Let us know you're watching. Oh, 8 people. Fudge.
Somebody jumped out real quick. They're like,
Don't do me.
Every
Right.
time you start talking really loud, your audio cuts out,
I know. I have to control myself. I don't know why it does that.
which is basically every time you speak.
I'm going to control myself and become really monotone. I'll just let y'all do all the talking from now on.
It's better for everybody else.
Y'all can keep talking, but look at some cool stuff. How about this?
Yeah, we want to see some cool stuff. Put that back at the shop, fans. It is the Kyle Busch who ended up finishing 5th after putting it firewall deep in the tire barrier. That's a nice shot of the crowd.
It's a nice.
Looking happy.
There was a lot of people there. Pretty diverse crowd.
Yeah.
We're taking back and forth. We're taking pictures.
Gotta
That's a
have
hell
more
of a
pictures than that.
slideshow.
Slideshow. That's all we got.
We're back to the crowd. All right.
I was in Chicago for 4 days. Here's 2 pictures.
Wait a minute, there's one winner right there. Say his name.
Jisenberg.
Van Gisbergen. It's not hard.
Whatever.
Shane Van
I'll hear when Jeff.
Hey, look at me.
It's not easy.
There we
Hey,
go.
look, it's a giant checkered flag.
Turned him into a German.
Gisenberg?
You said Gisenbergen.
And
I didn't say. I just like just. Never mind.
Baby. There he is. That's a good one.
I will say that checkered flag shirt you had on, it was real easy to spot you on the broadcast Sunday there, Photog Chris.
I was right there on it.
That was my favorite part.
Honestly, he's always easy to spot when he gets put on TV because he's wearing that giant red shirt that he's got through his company, or he's got the checkered flag. Like anytime we're at the stadium, Bowman Gray, I know exactly where he's at because he looks like a giant beach ball.
He has a camera, so that helps too.
Not even when
Here we go.
just when he's walking around with his camera, just when he's walking through the pits, he's like, "Oh, there's Dad." The 6'4" guy with the shirt on.
With the shirt on. That you got to specify that at Bowman Gray.
Yeah, most of them don't have the shirt on.
So Chicago, obviously, we know the the atmosphere was badass, and obviously there's certain things you can't control, like rain and weather and crap like that. But what about the actual racing? What do you think about that? I mean, Xfinity, we didn't really get to show our stuff because of the deal there, but I think it was decent for 20 laps.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't have time to do much, but they got a little side here and there, and they didn't get a chance to get into that part of the race where they actually wanted to do something. They were in kind of hold mode. We didn't think there was going to be a shortened event that night. We didn't know there was lightning storm coming. We thought it was going to be a normal folding race. And all of a sudden, there's a lightning storm 8.1 miles away, and we're in the middle of a 90-minute hold that we didn't know we were going to have.
Someone really dicked the dog on that one because there wasn't enough communication for, NASCAR's normal policy is 30 minutes from the last lightning strike within the range. And then either someone didn't know or it wasn't communicated that the policy of the city was, well, we're going to get everybody out of city-owned property until there's nothing on the radar indicating danger. And someone really just, there was a lack of communication. Somebody didn't know the rules. It was that gray area where you'll get failed inspection in NASCAR. You got to know the rule book. You got to play by it. And someone really screwed that one up. And that, honestly, between that, from what I understand, that everybody was being ushered out of the park. Well, NASCAR and NBC are still playing like this race is going to start because their policy's half an hour. Everybody on Twitter saying it, Bob Pockras and Jeff Gluck and all those guys. But then you see all this other stuff on Twitter. And Twitter was a hellscape on Saturday between
Twitter's
the view
limits.
Between the view limits they put on and people freaking out because they're kicking them out of the race. It was, you got normal fans getting kicked out of the race and putting on Twitter, but then you got everybody that can't see it like, what the F is going on? It was just...
So we're obviously we're on pit road. There's a fence right behind us, and behind the fence, it was just like a public area. Whoever could come up, whatever. So we're reading the tweets and reading the posts on social media about how fans are getting run off. I'm like, we're all looking at each other like, have they canceled it? And the next thing we know, there's security guards coming through this park area on the other side of the fence, screaming, you guys got to get out, yelling, we're is there a tornado or something coming? We were we didn't really understand what the deal was. And so then kind of what Davey said, I guess, and their policy is you have to get out completely and then come back once it's over. Definitely not enough communication there, but that's,
And that's a weird way to do it. Because you can have those kind of storms. I think they'd have some kind of area where people could shelter under those stands or whatever.
Instead of just saying, hey, you got to go out that gate. You can stand on that side of the gate. You just can't come back in. They're not going to get struck by lightning at that point. They did not make us leave. I don't know for sure, but I heard that they ran spotters back to their haulers or back to their cars. But other than that, no, we kind of hung out at the pit box the whole time.
That's interesting that they don't care enough about y'all's safety to make y'all leave.
Usually they do. That's the weird thing. At any other
Yeah.
racetrack,
You've already
if you
signed
go
that
into a
waiver
lightning
at that
bolt-
point in time.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's
but
true.
like I said, like
But
Atlanta
you're
this
also
weekend.
on their insurance.
Exactly. If we go there and there's a lightning hold, they will make us go back to our haulers. But I guess since it was so far away, they weren't, didn't want to make us go all that way back. So we just stood under, a field of trees, which is the safest place you could be during the lightning storm.
So
That sounded
somebody,
a little.
Alex on YouTube has a question.
Oh, does
Oh
she?
boy.
She said, "There's been a
Where
lot
do you
of
see
talk."
him, Alex? I
about-
see a Rescue 885, not Alex.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
There's been a lot of talk about cutting the cup race by 25 laps, change strategy. Should NASCAR put a time limit on road courses due to darkness?
So that's
Would've been
actually
the same
on the
thing.
docket for the Cup. So do we have anything else to talk about Xfinity? It was pretty boring. It got cut less than halfway short.
Yeah,
That was
there's not
just
much to
what
talk
we
about.
predicted last week. Qualify on the pole, and you're probably going to win the race. So
I know Sam hates him, but
For that, I win.
Sheldon kind of impressed me, starting dead last.
I do not hate him.
yeah, he was
Sheldon's a hell
really
of a road
impressive
course
when he
driver.
was wrecking it, trying to qualify.
Shut up, Davey. No, Sheldon he's one of those when you go to a road course, that, he's probably
Okay,
going to run up front.
crew chief did say that it wasn't him that sent it back out. It was Sheldon saying, "I can get the pole. I know I can get the pole. I'm going back out." You don't settle for second. Like if you're a race car driver, would you settle for second? I wouldn't if I was driving.
It's a lot better than 38.
Depends. I would rather start, honestly, in this situation, I would rather start second with 2-lap fresher tires. I'd rather start second. Yes, absolutely, because they don't pay shit for qualifying. I tell Daniel this every week. Every week I have to tell him this. They don't pay anything for qualifying. They pay for the end of the race. So,
I can't say I wouldn't have done it.
I'm not hating on him for the idea. Like, hey,
He
if you
did
think
something
you can do
that
it, go
everybody
for
that
it.
weekend did. I mean, you watched how many people in Cup qualifying tag the inside wall, destroy their car. I mean, Elliott did it, Harvick did it, Austin Dillon did it in the race. You're just trying to push a little too hard, and you catch that inside wall, and there's nowhere to go at this place. And I mean, that's the danger of running the street courses. It's so boxed in, so enclosed. You've got jersey barriers on either side of you. You're gonna destroy your car if you miss your mark by 3 inches. And we saw a lot of that, and unfortunately, that's what happened with Sheldon. Is he tried to cut it just a little bit more than he should have, and ended up paying the price, and still came back for a hell of a finish. They 6 laps short of halfway, unprecedented events, but he still drove it like a BMF back to the front. And you got to give dude his props. Obviously, PJ's a colleague employee, and
I do
not
colleague.
his face,
I'm an RCR employee.
You know what I mean.
I don't hate him. I think that if it had gone, the lap times he was putting up, we're sitting there watching. Like, really think that if we had went, he would have. I'm not gonna say he would have won, because he has a lot of bad luck. Sometimes caused by himself, sometimes caused by others. But he was definitely coming, and he would have been forced. It's definitely faster than the 00.
All right, is that all we got on the Xfinity race?
So that's it for Xfinity.
I mean, it was pretty self-explanatory. Cole Custer qualified first, led every lap. Double file restarts allowed him to
the
get
way they
out.
ended it. Was the right thing to do?
For 30 hours, and then they said, "All right, we're not going to go back out."
Yeah. They pulled out accepting rear instances.
What
I
else
saw
are
a
they
guy-
supposed to do?
Yeah, I know. Nothing.
There weren't a lot of options.
I mean, they could have started that race back in that 17 inches of water they had on pit road. I mean, you shared a video. A colleague put it on Twitter, and they could literally stick the entire phone underwater. Their tires floating down pit road. I mean, they saw a video from Noah Gregson of that. There's just so much water, and there was nowhere for it. They showed on the broadcast they were literally cutting holes in the signage to allow water to escape. They were lifting the jersey barriers. They were the walls, track limits to let water escape. And, I mean, it's just things you learn the first time you do this event. You got to figure out how to make drainage better. I know it's a freaking that Chicago has been in a drought for a month, and then they have every bit of rainfall for the month happen in a 24-hour period. And it's unfortunate, but you got to learn and prepare for that. And I think we'll go back next year. Not 100% sure, obviously. Chicago said they've got to go back and look at their data, but I heard that they expected 3 million people to come through that for the race this past weekend. To come through for the events.
That's a big number. But when you look at people that didn't have tickets that are like they're standing up on stuff trying to see, you got people hanging out of their apartment windows, like there weren't 3 million people there, but there were a lot more people interested in. Yeah, it was crazy.
Probably the most NASCAR has seen in a long time, with the exception of Wilkesboro.
And I mean, honestly, Wilkesboro can only host so many people, so Wilkesboro probably looked packed. Wilkesboro probably didn't have 40,000 people.
No, I don't think so.
So honestly, that place was 2.2 miles long, and you had people lined up down the side you could get on, down both sides, and then you had the access, where you're just sidewalk barrier, fence with some banners up on the other side, so you can't see through or get through. But there's video and pictures of people standing just trying to get a glimpse of the action, and they put on a really cool event, a really good event. Just like I said a minute ago, there's some things they got to fine tune on. Expect the unexpected, and you learn how to better prepare for that.
I think they learned a lot. They were probably better for to have all those issues with the weather. Give them a lot to put in their playbook next time. Outside of even having to deal with the weather. But just one more Xfinity thing. Let's watch this for a second.
Let's watch.
You are so echoey.
I know. I don't know what about it.
He's always got that God voice. He's got.
Yeah. That's right, back shot fans. I told y'all I was gonna be here.
He was there.
Look at that meatball.
Yeah. So funny thing about that is, right after we did that, everybody looked at me. They're like, "Why are you yelling at random people?" I'm like, "It's all right. That's Davey's dad."
Jesus. The guys just don't know. They don't know.
All right. They don't know. I said I got to talk to all my fans
on this stream. Like, I'm tired of seeing 0 likes. There, y'all watching and want at least one like. Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I can hear you.
You sound like
I'm still on
you got the God voice.
Sound like effing almighty.
What my favorite song is? Does anybody know what my favorite song is?
I think I do. You're welcome.
You just got rickrolled. James Bond.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I appreciate that.
Just for this episode.
Oh, man.
Right. Special edition soundboard.
All right, you boys want to move on to cup stuff.
Yeah, the cup.
That was a little bit of a more action-packed race, which is normally that's backwards to what we're accustomed to. Everybody says the Xfinity Series has got the package down, and it's always better racing, whether it's just the less experience, the older cars, old style chassis, or what the combination is. But the Cup race was actually pretty freaking solid this. I know we had some wet weather, wet to dry, stuff like that, but it was just a better product this weekend. And I know it's circumstantial, but pretty good racing. What do y'all think?
I know Sam had a shitty experience because of the rain, but I actually enjoyed the street race. Like, I thought it was freaking awesome. I like road racing, but
oh yeah, and street racing.
Even taking out out that like I haven't let that affect my experience. Yeah, trust me. Sunday morning it freaking sucked. There was not one single part on me that was not soaking wet. I'll leave a little bit to the imagination, but I'm not letting that take away from the experience. It was a good time. I loved it. I've always wanted NASCAR to have a street race, and I love the idea. Bring on more of them.
Here's a funny story that I'm telling on a TikTok somewhere. But when I was a kid, when I was 10, 11, 12 years old, I used to draw racetracks on the paper. Shut up, Davey. And I would draw street courses through my town. I would pick streets, and I was the best way for the street course if NASCAR raced here on a street course. So it's always kind of been one of the things too. Like street courses would be cool.
I think it delivered. I mean,
racer from back in the day.
Everybody said, "Oh, there's not going to be any passing." Obviously, there was no passing in our race. I would attribute to that the fact that there was, that was the first race. I feel like if Cup would have been the first race, maybe it wouldn't have had as much action. Who knows? But there was passing. There was pit strategy thanks to the weather. There was a lot.
So I don't think NASCAR handled that correctly. I've listened to podcasts. I know other people don't think NASCAR handled that correctly because certain teams, like the 31, had already pitted and were in their fuel window that they could make it to the end by the time NASCAR said, "Hey, we're going to shorten this race 20 laps." Whereas other teams, like the ones at the front, I know that the 91 was on that strategy and he was just so good he was able to drive through the field, but they were waiting until they were in their actual fuel window to make it to the end. Do you think that NASCAR made the correct call in the timing of relaying to teams that we're shortening this race 25 laps?
Absolutely.
Expand on that.
Okay.
Jackass.
I'm going off of kind of some of the stuff I heard in the shop today. Great. Good job with the behind beep.
Our timing is impeccable.
Dude, I know everybody thinks NASCAR's a redneck sport, but there are some of the absolute smartest people working in this industry. Smartest people. I mean, you've got engineers at the track. Your crew chiefs are usually engineers. You got engineers back at the shop. You got them everywhere.
Some of them used to work at NASA.
These guys are thinking about stuff
rocket
like that.
Scientists.
Now they work at NASCAR.
Bob, Bob Pockers was on Twitter talking about how the race would have to be called earlier. They knew that, and it's not the first time. It's not the first time a race has been ended sooner. So I think they had to expect it. These guys aren't dumb by any means. I
think the issue that everybody's taking with is you call it. We're going to shorten it 25 laps after some people have pitted and are now in their window.
Yeah.
I think you have to call that before people start pitting because you just flip-flop the field for no reason.
Oh, but what if you don't make that decision? You want to make that decision. You want to let people know as soon as you can after you make that decision. Maybe it's shitty timing, but maybe that's when they made the decision and you're not going to wait 5 laps. Say, let's let everybody pit. You want to let everybody know early. You want to let your fans know, your teams, everybody. I get it. I get the frustration completely. I understand. But, it helped some and it screwed some over.
I don't know. I'm just in the camp of you can't. You've either got to call it earlier than they did or call it with 5 to go. Hey, we're putting 5 up. It goes back to Rescuette's question. Of a time limit. I don't necessarily think you should put a time limit on road course races because outside of this circumstance of this racetrack, prior to the start of the race, there were a lot of people calling on NASCAR why are we starting this race at 5 o'clock? Even if there was no weather, if it was a wreck fest and a total shit show, it could have gotten to the point where it might have run. If it goes 3.5 hours.
Yeah, that's a TV call. Though. That's when they want to start it to get in the best TV audience. and started
Well, that's
an
great.
hour earlier.
You want to get in the best TV audience, but sometimes we got to use common sense that, hey, if we don't start early, we might not get the race in.
It doesn't matter.
That's
They
not
got
the
a
first
great
time it's happened.
audience, and that's what they care about.
This is, I get it. I get the TV deal, but in my opinion, it's just my opinion. Quick reminder: these are our opinions. They are not of our employees, our employers, or that of NASCAR. They're ours exclusively.
They are.
God, what were we talking about? We were talking about the race.
Why do you do that?
Because I always like to put
these
that in the episode.
our opinions.
I know, but it's a legal thing.
Scared.
I don't even remember what I was
We
going to
don't
say.
even have a legal team.
What are you talking about?
Anyways, all right. What I'm getting at is, if we start that race at 5 o'clock because of the broadcast team, because of TV, and we don't get all those laps in, say there's no rain, we don't get all those laps in because it gets dark. Sport looks like a bunch of jackasses because they just started a race too late to get all the laps in.
And that would be the reason to put a timer on it. So
then you got 4.5 million viewers looking at NASCAR like it's a bunch of idiots because they don't know how to time their races out correctly.
Yeah, I remember what I was going to say.
Go ahead.
I think if you run a track that doesn't have lights, there should be like time that you have to get that race started by, like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whatever. But there needs to be like, and again, we're just talking because TV and NASCAR make the ultimate decision. But I still think that like you go to Talladega, you know it's going to get dark, you know there's going to be a shit ton of wrecks. So hey, this is when we need to start this race. We can't start a race at 5 because it won't get over in time. We need to start it at 2.
Or put a timer on it, which basically says, you know, we're going to run this many laps, but if we get into an extraordinary situation with a bunch of crashes or some kind of weather event or some other unknown, we are going to end this race. The white flag will come out, or 10 laps to go will come out at, you know, X number of minutes before it's too dark to race. They'll say it's going to be too dark to race at this time. 10 laps to go will be at this time. Y'all know it before the race starts. That's if we have extraordinary circumstances. And I'm doing the Sam pointing at the camera. But that's kind of the way to do it. And that would solve some of that problems. Let people, you can still have the Daytona 500 with 200 laps, 500 miles, except in a rare instance where it starts late because of weather or there's ungodly number of crashes, and that doesn't make much sense since Daytona has lights. But you know what I mean.
So kind of like Bowman Gray, how it's like, I know that's a crazy comparison, but street stock race is 20 laps or 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So you know if you hit that 20 minutes, hey, 20 minutes, here's the white flag, X flag ends the race. Yeah, I don't hate that idea. I kind of like that, actually.
Let's go back to something we were talking about a few minutes ago because you said I made it on TV.
Did make it on TV. I was so happy when I spotted you.
When did you see it? Sam, when did you see it? There
Like,
it is.
That clip. Yeah, that clip.
Why does he look like he's creeping around the wall? Like
He does look like a creeper.
you know that meme of Anthony Anderson where he's like,
Yeah.
that's what he looks like.
I was just standing there, and
creeping around the corner.
it looks like I'm closer than I am. I'm way back from that wall, and I'm there with the NASCAR media guy. He's shooting from the same place I'm shooting, and really there was so much room and so many places to shoot good video from that we were all kind of spread out, and there weren't a lot of photogs in any one given place. I'm trying to remember if I downloaded this
Did
other
everybody see
version.
that open area right in front of, like you have the haulers nose towards you? Our haulers were parked right there, nose towards those.
Yeah,
It's
just
not
off
that
to
far, Sam.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it was.
It was far because that was on the other side of the racetrack.
It was a long way.
There wasn't really a convenient way to get anywhere. But again, that was one of those things.
I do like
kinda
the checker flag
understand.
shirt, though.
The checkered flag shirt's cool.
I'm going to show you
chicken flag shirt.
I'm getting a picture set up here to. Oops, I messed that up. I'm getting a picture set up so I can show you what it looked like from that angle. If I can get it to click on it, and I loaded it. It was way too big, but let's go.
See that checkered flag shirt from a very far distance.
Now, let me tell you, the person who actually sent me the video clip of this is a well-known former NASCAR pace car driver. Kip Childress sent me the picture, and he said, "Where's Waldo?" That was the quote.
Well known As in 3 days or 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Good timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kip's a great guy, and I'm glad he's doing what
Yeah.
he's doing. That's pretty dang cool.
Dude,
Here's what it looks like from the other. There's my end. That's what I was seeing from right there. Up that opening, those two fence pieces overlap by 6 or 8 feet or so. Just like most openings like that. There's supposed to be a safety car there. I saw some of the other shots during the race, and there was actually a red safety truck sitting there. So I'm not sure. He might just have been out on that caution.
yeah. The funny thing
He's
about
getting
Kip,
some pizza.
everybody talked about that all weekend, and I just assumed that he was leaving at the end of the season. And then Monday morning, I wake up, and it's like social media, hey, I'm retiring, everybody. And then like 30 minutes later, oh, he's already announced as the new director of the car store.
I had seen him.
Silence for Kip Childress.
I saw him at the Cars Tour race at the Cars Tour event last Wednesday, and he had a radio on and his earpieces in, and he was walking around in a very official-like manner. And I was, yeah, kind of knew.
Yeah. Which, I mean, hey, that's awesome. Car Store's always been cool since it started, but you know, with the new ownership group with Harvick and Dale Jr. and Jeff Burton and those guys, it's, you know, they're trying to put together something that sticks around.
Speaking of which, so Harvick got disqualified by his own company.
Yeah.
That's a good precedent, though. Like a company that's willing to throw out its owner and operator. It was really kind of, man, because I had heard that they were running the sway bars that were too big. I think they were running the spline when you're supposed to run the square, something like that. You know what I'm talking about.
That was probably the old style where the radius is smaller, and then the new style is like massive.
Yeah.
So it was like big.
I heard the rumblings that the 62 was found with that, and it's like, are they going to do anything about it because it's Harvick? Like, would they throw out Dale Jr.? And they're like, we're going to think about it. And when they came out with the decision, can you shut up?
Yeah, the statement made it kind of sound like, oh, we're not going to do anything.
Yeah. And then they threw him out. And I think that sets a really good also. And they're not just going to let Dale Jr. come in the Sundrop 3 car, you know, run a giant motor with the oversized carburetor.
Only if some unnamed series would follow suit with that. Everybody else knows what I'm talking about, but I'm not going to say any names. If you know, you know.
Okay, I can't say it. I won't say it.
I mean,
I don't think.
You can't touch this.
Listening to or reading Rodney Childers' description of what it was, and he said himself, which he's a crew chief, very smart one. So I can't say that just because he said it didn't have a competitive advantage that it didn't, but I can't really see something like that having one. So the fact that they, hey, look, you know, if it was anybody else, they may have let it go just because it didn't necessarily have a competitive advantage.
Hey, Dad, can you put us back on the screen?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Thanks.
It's okay.
usually he forgets to put himself on the screen.
I'm over here working on stuff. So
That's cool.
Well, everybody saw what you're working on.
What?
Well, they didn't.
Yeah, we're watching it.
Never mind. They watched just a solid picture of the gap. All right.
Oh, the gap.
Gap.
Got quiet
Sam,
in
you
here
were
all of a
talking
sudden.
before I interrupted
Yeah.
you. Well, Sam was
no,
speaking.
you're
You
good.
didn't finish your story.
It's pretty much done. I'm just
Oh, I was
saying,
gonna pull
like,
this back
if it
up
had
because I got a
been-
picture of Kip the other day. I forgot.
If it had been any competitor, maybe they would have let it go, but maybe they took some special consideration, like, hey, since he's one of the owners is involved, we need to do this just so we're being fair. Which, you know, again, heads up move by them. Sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it was like the sway bar that you put like the tungsten in and then put the caps on, you know. I'm assuming that's what type of sway bar it was.
I think so. Because it, like,
Yeah, I
it
think the
didn't have-
maximum sway bar end, so they were or something like that, is what I read. So, and I think like all the DEI style, where it's the splines or whatever, 2 inches, like you're talking about with the caps,
Like late
and the-
model style versus cup car style. Well,
Yes.
old cup car style.
Yeah.
Xfinity car.
Yeah. All right. So, how do we think that the decision to shorten the race when they did affected strategy? I mean, we saw them flip flop the field. Do you think that someone else wins if they call at the beginning of the race, "Hey, this is going to be a 75 lap"? I mean, because SVG was able to come through the field, but
he started 18th and came through the field and passed all those cars and
20 laps.
And it wasn't like he was the only one on slightly newer tires. The other cars had those newer tires. He just outdrove everybody.
Would have, say, like the 20 car who was leading, but then wrecked in traffic. Would he have been able to keep the lead?
91 was correct the whole time too.
But the 20 got put in traffic because of the strategy. If there was no strategy like that, would he have wrecked trying too hard? Or would he been able to hold it?
No.
I guess that's
the 91.
Once the 91 got to him, it would have been over with.
He was running some of the fastest laps the entire race. Like, he wasn't just fast at the end. He had been fast.
But when he got through the field, obviously he's a great passer. He was facing cars with 16-lap older tires. So the passes were made a little bit easier. He didn't have to lay as much pressure on him as he would, say, the 20 or the 5 or any of those cars pitted on the same lap as him. If he's on equal tires, they're probably able to pace with him a little bit better than those top 17 cars that pitted earlier than him that he's passing.
Yeah, maybe. Where did they finish?
Don't look like that and shake your head. I don't know because I didn't look up at the running order. I know it was Jay Haley finished second and had a hell of a. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to him.
Break block up.
I'm not on the screen right now anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Jay Haley did good. Did a hell of a job. And he even tried, when Van Gisbergen passed him, he jumped to the inside and tried to get him back.
Yeah. And then he got passed right back.
I still think it's incredible that a guy that's normally driving a right-hand car and shifting with his left hand comes out there with experienced. I mean, I'm not saying Justin Haley's like the most experienced Cup driver, but he passed 10 guys that have been there for over 10 years. Pretty much relearning how to drive a race car.
John Wilson and
won.
Let's not take anything from SVG at all. Any whatsoever. The supercars are probably the most comparable car to a current Cup car in the world. I mean, there's nothing that's quite as similar
or
to
quite as heavy as a Cup car. Exactly. Tank.
So, and again, that's not taking anything away from him. That just usually the ringers come in and they kind of suck because they come from IndyCar or they come from F1 sometimes. And some Button did really good this weekend, but able to pick it up as well because they're used to very light cars and they get in a heavy car.
Well,
they're still decent.
Let's listen to what he said about that then. Okay. I'm gonna play some video.
I'm sure if it was an oval, it'd be the other way around. I guess this is my sort of bread and butter. The street circuits we do. Almost half of our series races are street circuits. So I'm comfortable with the walls. Took me a bit to learn the proximity of the car. Having the car on the other side of me, so I was missing apexes turning left and struggling turning right to know where that side of the car was. But yeah, I got better and better, and in qualifying I left a lot on the table. It's very intimidating on these straights. You have a 90-degree corner and no runoff, so I left a lot on the table and braking, and every lap today I was learning and getting better. But those guys are good. In the wet, the tyre was so different to anything I'm used to, but they were straight into it and just into it. And when I got on the slicks again, I was probably a bit too timid. And the guys were all over me. The next restart, I was just trying to find my feet a bit and figure out how everyone races and what it's like. And, everyone's good and the passes they were making were committed. And, I probably was a bit too nice to some people, but, that's how it was. And then coming back through the field, I thought, once the race got shortened, we had to pit to be able to make it on fuel, and thought it was going to be difficult from 18th. And I don't know the paint schemes that well or the numbers, so I was kind of trying to read the numbers on the windscreen to figure out who people were when I come up on them, and kind of remember who's good and who's not. And had some really good battles coming through. Some guys waved to me, and some guys battled hard, which was really cool. And everyone was clean, and I got a couple of taps. I tapped a couple of people, and there was that crazy restart at turn 11. The spotter was going off. I've never raced with a spotter before, and I normally would have just barreled on and joined the crash. So it was pretty cool to see how that side of it works. I'm sure if it was an oval, it would be the other way around.
That was pretty cool to listen to, huh?
I never even realized that they didn't have spotters. Like, I knew we didn't have spotters in like Trans Am, but I didn't realize like he never had a spotter. So that's something else to like throw in the mix that he's never had. It's like, oh wait.
And I don't know. I don't think was it in that soundbite where he talked about it helping him. I wasn't listening very carefully, and it's hard for me to remember all these little sound bites. See, it kept him out of that big wreck because the spotter said, stop. And he was able, otherwise he would have come around that corner and been balls deep just like everybody else.
Yeah.
I like that comparison.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most road course series don't have spotters. Obviously, we're a lot different than, say, the Trans Am series or the supercars, the V8 supercars in Australia. But does this make him want a spotter every time he goes back racing the V8s? Is he going to have something occur to him in a race? He gets into the wreck on that blind corner. He's like, damn, it'd been nice to have a spotter by then.
He's got 80 wins. He hadn't had one yet. He don't need one now.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
Did y'all see where the team principal or owner of his current team said they would allow him out of his contract a year early if he decided he wanted to come do this full time?
Yeah, that's awesome.
He did make a subtle comment about it.
Yeah, I'd love to see what he could do with the whole season.
Really enjoy seeing what he would do. I know it probably wouldn't be very pretty the first few, but like the second half of the season, we go back to some of these tracks like we got Atlanta coming up this weekend for the second time. Yeah. Coming back on some of these tracks, I mean, and then we've said that before about road course racers that come into NASCAR and they're garbage, but I don't think we've had anybody run this well in NASCAR coming out from a different series in a while.
The last best driver in the world who really tried NASCAR would probably be one Pablo Montoya, and he just couldn't quite get there for these cars. Yeah. But he also didn't drive anything like these cars like SVG here is. And so that may be the difference makers. He's used to the bigger, heavier cars. He'd just have to acclimate to an oval. And honestly, I think acclimating to an oval for a road course guy might be easier than acclimating to a road course from an oval guy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because they're used to, I mean, that's the trick, is they're used to figuring out how to maximize their potential on 10, 11, 12 turns that are all different. And they've got to figure out, and NASCAR guys, there's tricks and things that NASCAR guys have about an oval, but you've got two sets of turns that you've got to put all of that in your brain, and I would never discount an oval racer. But I think a street course guy could come in and get the nuances pretty quick, a good one like him. I mean, we haven't seen one do it yet, but I'm thinking, man, and let's listen to another piece of video, because I think this is him. I didn't label these really well, but I think this may be him talking about the possibility of coming and racing in America. And this was obviously before the team owner said what he said about coming in 2024, letting him out of a contract or whatever. But let's just hear what he did have to say about it.
Hey, Shane. I've obviously seen all of your wins in your career. Where do you think this one ranks? Because I've certainly got it right up there.
Yeah, it's obviously pretty high, but it's still, like, supercars is my dream, and, winning that championship and races like Bathurst over there are still top of the list. But to come in and do this, I don't know where it ranks yet. It's still sinking in, but it's obviously one of the most special victories I've ever had. And, to share it with so many people, to have my dad come over and a few other family, and, the team, how awesome this team is. It's great. Trackhouse is such a cool organization to be part of. The atmosphere and the teams, I've never really experienced anything like it before.
Probably more relaxed than I've seen in a couple of years. I mean, does it feel like this is the sort of place that you could come to race full time?
I miss racing in the States. I've done Daytona 4 or 5 times now, and just the way the American people are and how they go racing, it's so much more enjoyable. And even doing the media stuff, which I hate, everyone here is really nice. They ask good questions, and and they're respectful, and it goes both ways. So everyone here has made me feel comfortable, and it's so enjoyable the way the races are run. Like the qualifying at Nashville, I couldn't believe how relaxed everyone was. But then it was like a switch. The intensity turns on and away it goes. So, yeah, I'm committed next year to supercars. I still love supercars and hope it goes well there. But in 25, who knows?
Hey, Shane, I've obviously seen all of your wins in your career. Where do you think this...
There we go. I had the wrong thing up to pull us back up.
You big dummy.
Yeah,
You did it this time.
Yeah, I know. So, he had a lot to say in that clip, but about coming here, he mentioned that he had to do the 2024 season over there, but then we heard that the owner of the team said if he wanted to. So, if he comes here, where does he go?
I mean, it's easy to say Trackhouse, but who knows?
They've got two young drivers that run pretty well.
Yeah.
And Justin Marks said he didn't really want a third full-time team yet, or alluded to that when he talked about why they run Project 91 and why they don't run more races with Project 91 is because they don't necessarily want a full-time effort. They want their two teams that they have to be, successful and really get in that groove before they go with a third time. Where else?
PJ said 2311.
PJ said the 67 time.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've got to get the 67 and the 89, 88.
Yeah,
89.
I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard there's rumblings of Denny leaving JGR to go there. I mean, obviously it's easy to start those rumors because he's part owner in the team, but I mean, still, it would be,
Does he go to a different manufacturer? Does he go anywhere?
Yeah, I think. Who, Denny?
SVG?
No, SVG.
I don't think it matters. I think he goes to whoever.
I mean, does he drive for a certain manufacturer in Australia?
Holden.
I don't know how that.
And that's just General Motors.
GM.
Oh yeah, I mean those cars are pretty much SS's.
Does he go to Cup or does he go to Xfinity?
If he's gonna go anywhere, it's gonna be Cup. We didn't see him in an Xfinity car, but if he's driving that, you can't drive that like the Cup car. He was right foot braking, using the clutch, the sequential shifter, all of that. It would be a lot different with an H pattern. I mean, you could heel toe it, and we saw him do it back in the day, but how would that work in a normal H pattern like the Xfinity cars have?
Well, it wouldn't be a matter. The heel toe part would be the same. It's the muscle memory of the shifting, and I don't know one way or the other whether he's done H pattern competitively. I mean, he talked about doing the rally cars, and they're all sequential. Yeah. He said, he's went back and forth a bunch. His rally car was a left-hand drive, so he was used to the sequential on the right. So I just wonder because there is a big glaring great open ride in the Xfinity series with the 8 car right now.
Right.
Yeah.
I wish they could somehow figure out some way to put him in the 10 car for like a race this season would be awesome.
Yeah.
But just to see him in one, just to see how he would do. But I don't know. I think that's the kind of the type of guy I like. You could just kind of put him in anything, he'd be decent. I mean, I do also think that the Cup deal, not to say he got lucky or anything like that. I mean, that was raw talent we saw on Sunday. But last year, the first year of the next gen car, we saw a lot of guys that didn't always run up front, run closer to the front because everybody's figuring out this new car. You can apply that to a new course, especially a street course. Not a new road course, maybe not a new oval, but a type of course we've never been to. I'd apply that too. I mean, everybody else is playing catch up too.
But we're still seeing, next gen car. The parity that we saw last year, not quite to the degree.
Right.
We're still seeing, I'm looking it up right now if my computer will operate.
I wish your mic would though.
Yeah,
I wish you'd shut up.
Bad.
I can't help it. I don't know what to tell you.
I thought it was just me that was hearing that.
No, it does this all the time. There have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 13, 14, 12, 10, something like that. Can't do that math real quick. 9 different drivers to win a race already this year.
Yep.
I thought it was like 11.
Well, if you count SVG, I'm looking at the playoff standings, so that's not going to count the 91.
I swear I thought it was 11. Maybe not.
But still, that's a lot more parity than we've seen in years past with the Gen 6. You'd only get 9 drivers win a race throughout the season. And this new car, obviously, with single manufactured parts and the talent, and not able to do as much with these, honestly, as some of these smaller teams be able to run a little bit better. And, the 47 got a win at Daytona. I don't think that's, a complete surprise. Ricky's really good at speedways.
The team, they've been better this year.
But, yeah, as a whole, they're running, and they're still last of all the teams that have won race in the playoff standings. But, I mean, he would be in the playoffs. Had he finished second at the 500, he would still be in the playoffs right now, based off points. He would be, because he's ahead of the 23. He's ahead of the 50, the 48, Suarez, Penske. I mean, and and like both RFK cars are in right now, and they run like a bag of burnt bologna. Before Keselowski and before the new next gen car. So it's really, it is the great equalizer, and I think that's for it to be.
Perfect. Okay, couldn't hear any of that. Awesome.
Yeah,
you guys,
don't know why.
What is it called? Sound cancellation turned on?
No.
Crisp audio.
You got a crappy microphone then.
You mentioned
it on Discord.
You mentioned the 23.
You don't got noise suppression turned on Discord? No, we're going
no,
on the technical rant.
No.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't
know. Sorry. You mentioned the 23, and I think, I've been kind of surprised, honestly. I thought they would be, which they've had a ton of bad luck. God, they've had pit stop issues. They've had bad luck, so I'm kind of surprised to see them that far down in the standings. And then, like, Legacy, the 42 and the 43, they're far down. Like, it's crazy. If you look at the point standings and you look at, like, the bottom, 10, there's some surprises there. There really are.
I think next year you're going to see a whole new Legacy.
I don't know, man. Maybe.
I don't necessarily think next year, but the year after that. I think next year will be a transition year from one manufacturer to another. But you give them a year in a Toyota, and especially if they're getting support from Toyota.
Yeah, but what is support from Toyota? Support from Toyota is support from Gibbs. 2311 gets awesome support because they are, basically 2 extra Gibbs teams. But look back at Furniture Row, look at LFR, Levine Family Racing,
Furniture Row won a championship.
They did. But you see what happened right after that. Are they going to get
too much money to be in Denver running a race team?
Davey, we all know that is not the reason that they shut down. Not going to get into politics here, but that we all know that is not exactly what happened there.
That's all great and dandy, but the dude was self-supplying the money for the team. It doesn't matter if Joe Gibbs wanted to run them into the ground or not.
Yeah, that's not what I said. I did not say that.
That's cool. I said it. I didn't say you said it. I said it. And I said it doesn't matter if he did. He was trying to run a race team with his own wallet in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah, we'll see. So, maybe it'll be good. Maybe they won't be.
But factory support coming from Toyota versus it just being Gibbs. Toyota's got their own deal. They're not signing a satellite deal with Joe Gibbs like those other 2 teams you just mentioned did. Yeah. And yes, 2011 is an extension of Joe Gibbs Racing because it's Hamlin. Yeah. But if we see Denny Hamlin go run for 2311, what's that do to that relationship?
Tell me all the Toyota teams that are not affiliated with Gibbs.
Exactly. Toyota needs teams that aren't Joe Gibbs Racing. That's what I'm getting at, is Toyota wants to be dominant like Chevrolet. They want anything like Ford. Then they need teams that aren't Joe Gibbs Racing.
Toyota's never going to be dominant like Chevrolet. Like bow tie, baby.
I do think Toyotas, but they're dumping some money into NASCAR.
Yeah, I'm sure they always have. They've got it. Nothing against Toyota; they do a hell of a job. But
they realize that they need to have something other than these 4 cars to rely on.
We'll see.
So they're
what
bringing
happens.
2 or 3 more into the fold.
6 cars to rely on.
Whatever. The 4 that are actual Joe Gibbs racing cars.
Okay, fine. I'll give you that. Anyways,
if you want to be technical, all these cars are just NASCAR cars.
Cars.
And none of it is.
Maybe if you didn't yell, your throat wouldn't be so scratchy.
That's not why my throat's scratchy. This is my normal voice. Sinuitis.
Sinuitis. Sinuitis. Voice.
So, Davey has been paying attention to a lot of Twitter meltdowns. What do you consider a Twitter meltdown, Davey?
So the Twitter meltdown I have was the actual meltdown of Twitter, which we've already discussed. Where the view limits and all of that, and fans going nuts because Twitter was limiting their views and they couldn't get information. But go ahead and tell us what you saw.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Why do you want me to tell you?
You brought it up. I don't know what you're talking about.
I see. I don't know. I see a lot of people.
Was Chicago really a dangerous place? Was it as dangerous as, say, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina?
Okay. Well, for the record, all I'm going to say is I would take my family to Chicago for a weekend, but we don't go to Myrtle Beach anymore. Not going to say whether I feel safe, whether I don't feel safe. It's just kind of like just comparing it to Myrtle Beach, that place. We all know it ain't what it used to be. But no, not at one point did I feel unsafe in Chicago. I'm sure there's areas you can go to that feel unsafe. I live near Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Is Winston-Salem you can go that you might get shot?
Exactly. Compared to Chicago, Winston-Salem is a small town compared to Chicago. It's a big city here in North Carolina, but compared to Chicago, it's small. There are places that I know that I could go right now that I would probably get hurt. I know that. There's dangerous places everywhere. Chicago, Vegas, St. Louis. Everybody brought up Gateway.
Yeah. Gateway, that Gateway track is in a bad part of town, too.
Any city, state, whatever area in the country has dangerous areas. They just do. It doesn't matter where you're at. And this race was in one of the most tourist traveled areas in Chicago. Okay. I saw something on Twitter, it was on Facebook, and there's this guy talking about all the stuff that was stolen and all the haulers that were broken into. He wasn't there, of course, and none of that actually happened. One guy broke into the racetrack and took a lap in his Corvette.
Which is badass.
Obviously, that's legal. Yeah. Like,
my man.
No haulers were broken into. Nobody's stuff was stolen. Nobody
stole a pace car.
None of that happened. You've got people
honestly,
online.
Spotters have had shit stolen out of their cars before. A team me and PJ used to work. Their car was broken into in California last year. Sam, I don't think we can hear you anymore. There you go.
I'm sorry.
I did see a smash and grab in Chicago, and that happens in any city. But somebody had smashed into a car and stole a couple of things, and the dude was hot. He was mad.
Yeah,
it's right next to my car.
Was he attractive?
No.
Was it Martin
Here
Truex?
we go again. I was going to say, please don't get Davey talking about Martin Truex.
Well, I mean, speaking of things in Chicago, I built another slideshow, so I'm gonna switch over and we'll.
Ooh, slideshow.
So we'll just, y'all can see them now. Y'all can see what we're looking at as far as the pictures. I don't know if you can see it at all. Let's see. It's way over here.
See it. I just clicked on the screen. I can see it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what do you see now, PJ? What is up there?
Crowd by the fence.
Okay, so y'all can see that. Yeah. Okay. This neighborhood is not a racetrack. That was in over in Indiana, and there's half of my pizza that I was eating. I don't know how the pizza shot got in there. I didn't mean that. Whatever.
That's not even deep dish.
No, it was a thin crust, but it was a good thin crust. See,
Dude, I had
I
the deep
tore it up.
dish.
I just
The
didn't
deep
have
dish.
too many options to get to too many places. I ran myself ragged. And there's some of the pouring down rain. I mean, it was a monsoon that morning. Holy moly. It just kept swirling back over us.
It was nice and sunny back in what's the Salem, NC.
Yeah, it was. My wife kept telling me, I'm by the
Yes.
pool.
See
Look,
some deep dish.
TJ, there's your car.
Hey, that's a good
Look at
looking
that.
car though.
That was a pretty car.
Are you
Now,
looking
look,
at this
all of
pizza?
these people right here in this shot, they were outside of the track looking through one of the gates at an access point. There were people like this on practice day outside of the track all the way around. It was crazy. And back to Ryan Priest standing there talking to a few media. So I think that's the pictures we got. We've rotated through them once. So there you go. Cool pictures.
Yeah, I agree.
I took a lot of pictures. I took thousands of
Nice.
pictures.
I do like
Nice
that
to see
sign
the
now.
behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, the sign was funny.
Overall, it seems like a fairly successful week, minus weather.
Yeah, it was.
But
It was
there
fun.
ain't much you could do about that.
My only complaint is I kind of wish we could go back in like March or April. Like, got lucky on Sunday it was 68 or 69, but every other day it was like mid 80s to high 80s.
It was
I'm
warm.
like, please, yeah.
Sunday
I would
did
like
feel
to
good.
go
No
back when it's like
airflow and
Other than being
60
wet, it felt
degrees.
good.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Sunday was nice.
They said they hadn't had rain up there in over 30 days.
Yeah, and then they got 30 days worth of rain.
But
in
then somebody else said it
less
always
than
rains on the
24
lot north
hours.
up here. So
Another meteorologist.
if you want rain, just bring NASCAR to town.
yeah, exactly.
Alrighty.
All right, well, let's move on. Chicago, we already talked about that.
I think we're out of time here.
Here's the other funny
Because
thing.
this is going pretty long.
Let's listen to one more Shane Van Gisbergen soundbite about. This one was
SVG.
funny. This one was about how he was
like
having
Jeff Burton.
a little bit of trouble in the car because he's down under where they use the metric system.
Jordan Bianchi with The Athletic. You thought you had a motor problem there, or were you just being a little paranoid and hearing things?
Yeah, I got close to the fence and it echoes funny off the fence sometimes, and I thought it sounded a bit funny, and I looked at the lap times. We went from doing high 29s to 31s on that last restart, and I wasn't really pulling away that much where I felt like I was trying. So, and then the water pressure, I don't really understand Imperial that much, so the settings are a little bit different to me, so I started stressing when they change color, but that's normal under yellow and under green and stuff. And I had put the radiator fans on for when I was in traffic, and it just got too cold when I was out front. So that was my bad. And yeah, I need to be able to switch or get them to change the dash to Celsius. Yeah.
One thing I saw was there was quite a few of your supporters here from Australia and New Zealand. Did you get a chance to interact with a lot of them? What was that like kind of throughout the weekend?
Yeah, I've never done 50,000 photos on the podium before, but there was some guys with SVG shirts that came from Australia and came to watch the race. So they snuck up onto the podium and took some photos with them. But man, the support we've had and the interest from Australia and New Zealand, it's been, it's overwhelming and so cool to see how interested people are in this race. And hopefully it shows how good our supercar drivers are and opens the floodgates, and we can come over here and race. There hasn't been anyone from supercars since Marcus really come and have a go, but there's plenty of good drivers now wanting to come and try expand and come over here. And any of the top 10 in supercars are good enough to come and do what I just did.
Jordan Bianchi with The Athletic.
There you go. He said the top 10 in supercars could come over here. That was part of that. The funny part was he couldn't quite figure out the Imperial, our standard, measurements, and he was worried that things were too hot or things were too cold or whatever, and he was joking about that because they use the metric system straight up. But then he said the top 10 of supercar could come over here and do this. Whew, that's a statement.
That is a statement. Like, I welcome it. Anybody from
it'd be great.
any discipline, any country, whatever. Hey, come try it.
You could elevate
Is it
NASCAR
more?
to the next level if it had a couple of guys
Exactly.
like him in it all year long.
Let's go.
But
Yeah.
you know
I'm
what?
down.
You can say that all you want all day long, but you put them on one of our normal tracks like Charlotte or Kansas or Texas or whatever, Are they going to run decent? Or are they going to run like the rest of the road course ringers we've had?
He'd
And
figure
that's,
it out.
you know, you can say that all you want, but nobody else has figured it out. They a different discipline.
AJ's figured it out.
But
Tony Stewart.
He's been NASCAR for how long?
don't have to. They don't have to do
but
that.
I think
though.
drivers the caliber of Tony Stewart can figure it out. Juan Pablo Montoya could have figured it out with the right team.
And not hitting jet dryers.
Well, that too. But he had Chip Ganassi Racing, and no offense to them, they weren't a top caliber team at any point. They were, if Hendrick is the 100% mark, Chip Ganassi was probably 93. And Richard Childress Racing in that years with Kevin Harvick was probably 90, honestly. And then Stuart Haas came in with Kevin Harvick and was probably a 96 or 97, maybe at the peak.
While we're talking, PJ brought up Juan Pablo and the jet dryer. Maybe I can get a guest on here one day with a behind-the-scenes story. I'm not going to tease too much of it, but I don't know if I could get him on here or not. Davey, do you know who I'm talking about?
I do. There's actually a couple people that were on that deal.
They were on the 42.
I'll tell you two guys when we get off live here.
I know the story.
I know you do, stupid. I said you two, meaning your dad and PJ.
Two on the left. I see.
Hey, use guys.
Use guys. Let's move on to Atlanta because we're getting kind of late. Atlanta preview, you're going semi-super speedway racing. It's been an all right show. The first 3 times we've been on this newishly reconfigured Atlanta. What do y'all expect to see this weekend?
Drafting.
21 on up front.
I'm glad you expect to see drafting, Sam. Otherwise, it would probably be a shitty race.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Xfinity, the 10, 11, 16, 21, 2, and 48 are going to run the tables on everybody else.
Yeah, hopefully it ends up better for the
Who's
last
driving the
one
10?
by one spot.
1, baby.
Who's
11.
Who's driving the 10?
I don't know if we can say it has been said yet.
God, this late, it probably should be out, but
I mean, it's Wednesday.
Because they did the little 3-car deal thing.
Oh, yeah,
Bob
they did. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to be safe.
That's okay. You may be
sorry.
Why don't you look right now on social media and make sure?
I saw earlier. I know what he's talking about.
Okay. Because I brought up the phone. I was about to.
Oh, God. Yeah, hopefully it can end up one spot better for the old 11 car with its newly minted mechanic, Samuel Ray Whitman.
what part of the car will you be mechanicking on?
God help you, Daniel Henry.
All of it.
Wow.
Did you mute yourself? You can't hear you.
Yeah, we cannot hear you.
Okay.
Hope
Well,
he's a
that
better
works.
mechanic.
He's not a very good audio video. My God.
Nope, can't hear you. Oh,
You can't?
There you go.
oh, no, we can.
There we go. There we go.
My bad. That just shows you we've gone on too long. We've been on here
Remember my
since
first time.
7:15. I'm tired and ready for bed.
Sorry.
It's okay. I've had fun. It's been a good time tonight.
All right. Anyways, so y'all expect to see drafting. All right. Cool.
We do not care.
All right. You want to tell the barf in the bushes? Go on. It's not a really good story this week, but since you're tired, we can tell the Atlanta story of y'all almost leaving me. If you want.
Oh yeah. Okay. So this is a quick one, but it's kind of funny. So
It's
Davey,
Hold on.
We were-
So we are working up until the last minute like normal.
No.
Because we're always behind on everything back in the day. Me and Sam
on a
working
small
together.
team.
We were on a very
On a
small
small
team.
team.
It was like 4 of us in the crew chief.
a little bit bigger now.
Yeah,
has improved
they've done well for
What she
themselves.
said.
So, anyways, the crew chief says, "All right, I need 2 of y'all to stay with me through the night. 2 of
That
y'all
was
come
not
home and come at 7 a.m." So me and another guy named Justin, shout out to Justin, we stayed
Good
through
thing
the
his
night.
last name is beeped out. Proceed.
What's it matter if his last name is beeped out or not? He's a salesperson, so
No,
he probably.
your microphone cut out.
Oh, well, Justin Nera, he's a salesman now, selling cars. Look him up. We stayed the night to help set up the race car. The other guys came in at 7 a.m. to kind of take over. I ended up not leaving the shop until about 11 a.m. when I was told, hey, go home, pack, and get some sleep. We're going to leave for Atlanta tonight around 7. I wake up at about 4 to 25 missed phone calls from my buddy Sam here saying, hey, get your ass to the shop. They decided to leave 4 hours early. So I get there about 5 when they wanted me there at 3, but I was dead to the world. I didn't know.
Yeah. Felt so bad.
Yeah. I didn't drive that whole way. I can tell you that because I was pretty pissed because I was sleeping good.
Who else was pissed? Same guy that made that decision when I told him Sunday night. So we drove down and drove back, obviously.
Was it Jonas Bell?
No, he did not work there at the time.
Wow.
I'm not going to name
like
drop.
Jonas name.
I'm not going to name drop, but he's like, yeah, we're gonna be at work at we should get home around 5 or 6. Go home, sleep for a couple hours, come in around 9. And it was at that point that I broke the news to him that I was not going to be working that day because the deal I had made was I was going to get at least one day off because I knew how this team worked and they liked working a lot of hours and they liked working 7 straight days a week. And I love racing, but there's a lot of other things I love too. And I told him, I said, sorry, bud. He was mad the whole ride. Guess who wasn't? And guess who took their day off the next day?
That was good times.
Was it though?
Was? I think it was. It was fun.
On the road, I had a lot of fun with that particular team.
In the shop, it freaking sucked.
Because the garage is closed. You only had so much time you could work on the cars.
Yeah.
You knew you were going to the hotel.
Exactly. You knew what time you were getting there.
On the team that the 3 of us were on together.
I agree.
I did on that team. But still, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, that's completely 100% right.
But that's the end of the story. A lot of driving, a lot of pissed off people, and I was tired the entire weekend because it rained nonstop.
That's what I feel like when I cover hurricanes, but it's not racing, so I won't talk about it. But,
that's all right.
None of these girls are from covering hurricanes, so I'll just say that.
Oh yeah, mister, I got my Emmys to show. Those are real. If y'all are watching,
that's only 3 of them. I got a few more.
That's only 3 of them. I've got 3 of them.
I got 5 of them.
The coolest thing I got is Teddy Christopher.
I like that.
I've got a participation award around here somewhere from the time I played baseball.
I've got the videotapes of all of that.
Oh, you're one of those kids.
Okay, all right. Okay, this is not a measuring contest, gentlemen.
You sure?
You did cool stuff.
Tell me when. Tell me when.
Speaking of that, I got to start carrying a tape measure on me at the racetrack now because I am no longer a tire guy. I'm a mechanic now.
You don't have
wait. You didn't carry a tape measure as a tire guy?
Oh,
I did when I was a tire guy.
Yeah, but I didn't need to. Mainly because
tire guy.
You can't read one.
I have them on the toolbox. So if I ever needed one, I'd just go grab it off the toolbox. But
are we picking winners
I got one
for this one?
Everywhere.
I mean, Sam already picked the Xfinity races. Who thinks what?
Where are we racing this weekend?
Atlanta.
Austin Hill.
Atlanta.
Xfinity.
Xfinity?
Yep.
The winner of both races is going to come from North Carolina. There's my picks.
Wow. Okay.
I like Austin Hill. Obviously, he's strong at these kind of races. I'll say that for Saturday. I know what Sam likes. Tavy.
I think Parker Klagerman gets it done this time.
That's a good one.
Obviously, I'm not gonna. I'm sticking to the thing where we're not doing the college predictions. I think the 48 can do it this time.
Sam, if you had to pick somebody else,
be impartial.
If you had to pick somebody else, Sam.
You're really gonna do this to me?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're really gonna do this to me?
Yeah. Otherwise, every week you're going to pick the 11.
Austin Hill.
PJ, who would you pick outside of RCR?
That hurts.
Probably-
Who's driving the 10?
Justin.
Oh, not that one then.
God, dude.
Does he get to drop the 10 because the engine blew up last week? Is that why? No, not Justin Marks. Justin Haley. Is that right? I had Justin Marks on the mind. You say Justin, I think Marks. Because, Bud Light.
Who's your pick? PJ.
Slut.
You got 3 seconds. 3.
Between the 16 or the 48.
2.
Chandler Smith.
Yeah, that's a good one. Georgia boy. That would be a good one.
That would be
All right,
cool.
let's go to Cup. Who we got?
Not allowed to pick a colleague driver.
I say Tyler Reddick.
He sucks at speedway racing.
I know, but
He'll wreck it.
He's pretty.
He'll wreck it.
He's been getting better, I think.
Who
Talked
won the
about him
last
earlier.
Cup race?
Talked about him earlier. He's my pick. Go with my boy Bubba Wallace, 23 car.
That's a good one.
Gonna get it
Bubba.
done.
He's smart like that.
He's always good at speedways. The last few he's had some bad luck. I think this weekend
He's got some confidence.
he's gonna get done.
Baby.
I am going to go with who drives in the Cup Series?
Kyle Busch.
Christopher Bell.
Revenge
Okay.
from last week. Got it. And
That's
I'm the
good.
only one in here who can put my pick on the screen. Who am I picking, y'all?
Why are you picking him?
He finished
I
Good
mean,
dude.
4th
really well
last
last
year and was up there in contention before getting in a wreck in the spring. They're very strong there.
Causing a wreck
Yeah, but
in
they're,
the spring
they're strong.
I don't care
because
I'd
he
love to
didn't know
see
what
it.
to do. Therefore,
I would also love to see LaJoy get his first ever win.
I think
it would
it's
be
the next
awesome.
And
But
It is the next best opportunity.
I agree.
there's nothing
I
wrong
mean,
with that. but
where'd he
yeah, I
ran
agree.
14th at Chicago.
Dude,
That was a
7?
good day. And
they have stepped up their game big time
yeah,
this year.
I mean they're like 3 or 4 positions this year ahead of themselves from last year at this point, as far as in the finishing order or average finishing position.
Consistently top 20.
Yeah.
So
We
it's got
live.
the spinning wheel of death.
It does.
it's the
I see that.
question. I answered the question.
All right, well, there we go. We are back at the shop.
Oh God, don't take off your shirt.
Oh Christ.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. I'm out.
Really?
Dave, you're stupid. He thinks he looks cool, but he really looks like a drunk off a moped.
I was
hear
about
that.
to say, are you about to go to the gas station and get a bag full of stuff and drive down the road on the old moped?
He's going to the liquor store, bud. You can tell.
Jeez.
He can't hear us, so
Put him on. Yeah, put him on. You don't need that.
His
Go
headphones
fund me
just
for
fell
headphones for Davey.
all right, we done? I think
Yes.
we're done because Davey can't hear to close the show. Davey, close the show. Say bye.
We're back at the shop, bitches.
Thank all my guys, everybody back at the shop.